So what happened in Nepal was like in Western Rukum, a person, Navaraj Bika, and some other six young people have died, let's say killed from the community people because
Right.
of the caste system. I think after 2 days in the United States, what happened was George Floyd was killed from the police.
Hmm.
So in this topic, what would you say about this kind of racism and the casteism? You can compare this incident, Nepal and the George Floyd and Nauraj Bika, and then you can analyze openly.
I am. I have become quite outspoken, I think, in my own way, on the issue of racism in the United States, and it exists. We know it exists. George Floyd was murdered. We have seen other instances of this over time. We need to address this as a society. We cannot continue to see our Black citizens killed, living in fear, living with discrimination, and we don't want to talk about it as a nation. We never have, and I understand that. We wanted to believe that the efforts we made in the 1960s, with the civil rights movement and in the years since, that they were enough. They were not. And as a white American, many of us wanted to just, we'd shake our heads and say that's a problem, but we just kept thinking it would go away or it would get better, and it won't. Not until we make a concerted, committed effort to act as a society. The time has come. We need to do this. And the fact that it's uncomfortable to talk about, the fact that we may not want to admit to our failings, doesn't mean those failings don't exist. And I am the last one to try to tell people of another culture how to view their own society, to view their own issues. And as a career diplomat, we always try to understand. We always tried to be sensitive to cultural differences and to hear what people had to say. And I still think that that is important. But you can't believe that racism in the United States is wrong and not believe that casteism in Nepal is wrong. We are all human beings. We all have the same rights. We all need to be respected. Our voices need to be heard. And no society can be successful if we discriminate against a significant segment of our populations. We cannot. And whether we're discriminating on the basis of caste, ethnicity, language, race, faith, gender. And we know that many women are left, there are societies where women are totally left behind as well. We can't continue to do this and have any hope, any pretense that we are moving forward as nations, that we are moving forward as people. And these are issues. You've seen that this issue about George Floyd has resonated not just in the United States, but it has resonated in Europe, in Japan. It's resonated across the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the fundamental issue about racism is one that we all know in our hearts, that this is wrong and it needs to end. And that applies in Nepal as well. And I'll let you and others, I'll let my Nepalese friends make their own judgments about casteism. But to me, yeah, and I know it's tied up with many different things, and I know how emotional people can get about this, but it's still wrong. And if we believe in human rights and human dignity, and if we want our society, so if you want to be a federal democratic republic, mm-hmm. If we want to be true to the values we articulate in our Constitution, then we need to act on these things. So that's my mm-hmm. quick thought.
Sorry, that is my another question in this topic is why justice, the social justice is totally different in two countries. Let's compare the situation here. In Nepal, like still the victim people, they are facing the legal process, and they have long legal process. In United States, like totally justice in two different countries, two different geography, totally different. Why is justice not the same for humanity?
I can't really speak to the justice system in Nepal, but, we always say justice delayed is justice denied. But more to the point, in the United States, for far too long, justice has not always been blind, as it is portrayed. A white-skinned person will have a better time in our criminal justice system than a person of color, a black or a brown or even an Asian person. There is white privilege. By the color virtue of having a white skin, there are things that are just easier for us. And it's unspoken. It's not always even intentional, but it's there. And we have a criminal justice system that has, as a result, often discriminated against those of color. We see it all the time. We talk about systemic racism in the justice system. And this is one of those fundamental reforms that people are calling for. It's not just policing, though certainly we see this carry over into policing as well. And I'm not saying that all police are bad. They're not. But there is something in the system that has encouraged and allowed attitudes towards, citizens of color, again, to become very different. And their experience of justice is very different. And we can't have that. And I don't know what the answer is. These are so deeply embedded. And in Nepal, mm-hmm. There's not only casteism, there's not only Dalit, and people that, but you've got within the caste structure, you have elites in Nepal, and some of those elites have played a disproportionate role in governing the country and at times and how wealth is distributed and everything else, and that's gone on for a long time too. And again, people don't always talk about this, and I don't pretend to be an expert, and I'm not going to critique, the Nepali social order or the caste structure. But all of this contributes to disparities in how people are perceived, how they are treated, and their ultimate experience as citizens of a nation. I don't want that in the United States. I don't want that anymore. I don't want that to be the world that my grandchildren grow up into. My grandchildren have Asian heritage. They've got all, we're a mixed group here in the United States. I don't want that to be their life. Mm-hmm. And I hope that people who truly care about Nepal don't want that to be the future for children in Nepal either. Dr. Martin Luther King would talk about judging a man by the content of his character, by the content of his mind, not by the color of his skin. And it would be nice if we could all get there.
Thank you for your opinion on it.